Hi, this is Tom with Pure Water Power, and I'd like to introduce you to the amazing little beast 4-stage RODI purification system. Now these systems are available in 4 different configurations. We have a single RO tap pressure version, a dual RO tap pressure version, a single RO with a 12-volt electric pump, and a dual RO with a 12-volt electric pump. And just to give you a little bit of education on what these systems will produce and what it means for you, the single RO tap pressure version will produce 0.75 gallons per minute, assuming you're hooked up to a 50 psi water source. And what that means is you'll be able to operate a single pole with 4 jets up to 50 feet. The dual RO version will produce twice that. So that one will produce 1.5 gallons per minute. And what that means for you is you will be able to operate two water-fed poles with 4 jets up to and beyond 50 feet. Now, the benefits between the single and dual RO tap pressure. Now, this system will operate, like I said, a single pole up to 50 feet, as long as you have a 50 psi incoming water source. Occasionally you might run into a water source where the PSI may be on the low side, so high 40s, and that may be enough to impede your flow enough so where you can't use your pole efficiently. In that case, you would have to inline some type of a booster pump to get past that shortage of PSI coming in. The dual RO, because it produces so much more water flow, for those situations where you hook up to a water source where the pressure is abnormally low, this thing produces so much pressure already, or flow, that you can get by that with the dual RO. So that's one thing to determine what system may work better for you. So either way, if you were to get a single RO and you decide later on that you needed some more flow, you can upgrade to the dual RO. We can sell you the second RO housing and the fittings and all that, and you can turn your single RO into a tap pressure or a dual RO tap pressure unit. Then we jump into the single RO with the pump. So you can work the pump units with or without the pump on. So the single RO 12-volt system with the pump off will produce the same as the tap pressure unit. So it'll give you 1.5 gallons per minute, and with the pump on, it'll produce 2.1 gallons per minute. So that will give you the ability to run 2 poles with 4 jets and rinse bars up to and beyond 50 feet. So then we jump into the dual RO with the 12-volt. Again, this system, you can operate it with the pump on or off. So with the pump off, if you don't need that extra flow that day, this will produce 1.5 gallon per minute and give you the ability to run 2 poles with 4 jets. Or with the pump on and fully in the high position, that will give you the ability to run 2.5 gallons per minute. It's an amazing flow unit. So what that means for you is you'll be able to run 3 poles with 4 jets and rinse bars up to and beyond 50 feet. So all of these systems are configured very much the same way, with exception to whether you have a pump or not, or the second RO, but the remaining filtration is identical. And you have a water inlet here. You screw in the garden hose from the spigot. It'll go through the system. It starts with the sediment filter, which takes out the rust and the large solids. Then it goes through a carbon filter, which removes the chlorine. Chlorine has to be removed before it goes through the RO, so then it goes through the RO. The RO membranes will take out approximately 90 to 95% of the total dissolved solids. And then since 95% of the solids are taken out, the remaining filter, the DI, then takes the rest of the solids out and brings you down to 0, which is a spot-free rinse at that point. And that's the reason why a lot of guys do go with the RO DI units, because Because the ROs are taking out all the solids, it allows this filter to last 10 times longer, and then that's where the key savings are with these systems with your DI replacement costs. So if you have an incoming TDS of 200, you should be somewhere around 15 before it hits the DI, and then, as I said before, the DIs will last so much longer because they're dealing with so much cleaner water. And so then it comes out to your water-fed pole, and you're good to go producing pure water. So now, on all of these systems, they are equipped with a pressure gauge. So it's always good to know what your pressures are. Now this pressure gauge works a little bit differently than as if you just hooked up a pressure gauge to the spigot. Because water's flowing through this and discharging at all times, this pressure will be about 15% lower than your actual pressure from the source, because you're constantly getting a discharge out of the system. So but this is just to monitor your pressure and keep that in par for you. These are also equipped with a dual TDS meter, so it has an on and off feature, and then you can measure your incoming TDS before it hits the system. And then you flip this lever over, and that gives you your out reading. So you can always constantly measure what your water TDS levels are coming in and what your levels are going out. Once you get to 10, it's time to change your DI filter. Your windows can spot, or will potentially spot, when you hit 10. So once that gets to 10, change your DI filter. So these systems are all equipped with a RO discharge, and that is common with all systems. Every RO system has some type of a discharge hose built into it. And what that means is you have your water hooked up to from the source, turn the water on, the water will flow through the system, and during normal use you will have about 15% of whatever water is coming in exiting this hose. So that's normal, don't be alarmed. Now these ball valves, when you first hook up for the day, you want to put this ball valve, and there's markings on it, tells you normal mode down and flush mode up. You want to flush the system before and after every use. So you hook up the water, goes through the system, put this in flush mode. What that's going to do is, instead of your normal 15% coming out of here, you're going to have about 90% of your water flow coming out of here. And what that's doing is clearing the RO system of all that TDS water that the filters have taken out from previous jobs or just from sitting in there. So flip that up to flush mode, flush it for about a minute, and then you can put this ball valve into the normal mode, and that will bring this back to about a 15% discharge, and then push the water back to the outlet going to your water-fed pole. So that's how those work, and just don't worry about it. That's how they are. And this discharge hose has a garden hose connection on it, so you can add additional hose in case you need to run that water off into some designated area away from where the unit is. And that water will not hurt plant life or anything like that, so you're okay there. So anyway, that's how that works. So now I want to go into what the pump versions feature. Now, there's so many options on these things. It's really going to be hard to get it all in a timely manner, but I'd like to start with the control box. So the 12-volt pump units are equipped with a high quality, we have these specially made, they're aluminum encased control boxes, which have an on and off feature, a speed control feature, and a remote control or manual feature. So when you get to the job site and you want to run your pump, turn the power on and put it in manual mode. So that turns the pump on immediately. It's just manual operation, and then you can adjust your flow with this knob here. And this speed control knob it does wonders for you. It will give you the ability to control your water flow and save water, save your DI filter life. That alone makes it worthwhile, because a lot of pump systems just have it on and off, and those pumps are running full speed all the time. This gives you the ability to toy around with it, get the perfect flow, and conserve the water and your DI filter life. So that's how that works. That will produce more pressure to your water-fed poles. So then we have the remote operation. So you click that off, and now we have a remote that you can use up to 500 feet away, and it has an on and off button, and then it has a digital flow control, so you can adjust the flow up or down, and from a distance, and save your water. Get a telephone call, what have you, just shut the pump off, and you're good to go. So in case you lose this before you can get a replacement, we don't want you guys to have to not, use the system because of a lost remote. And that is one of the reasons why we had this set up with a manual mode. So if you lose your remote, you're not out of work. You just have to do it manually until you can get another remote. So anyway, that is a high quality water encased box that we had specially made up for these units, and they are just invaluable. So let's go over the battery box and your hookup there. So the 12 volt units are equipped with a battery box, and to put the battery in, you have to unscrew your DI filter and put the battery in, and then cap it and put the filter back on. So because we don't want you to have to change that battery or take that filter off every time you charge your battery, we have installed posts on the exterior of the box. So what that means is you can just unscrew these caps right here and hook your charger cables right up to that and charge your battery overnight without having to pop all that the filter off and take all that time away from you. So that is an awesome feature with these. And then they also have chargers that are waterproof chargers that you can actually mount here that are waterproof. And if you run into that situation out on the job site, you can just run a 110 cable and charge that unit as it's charging your battery and still operate the system. So there's a couple things. We'll have those soon. We've got some demos available for that, but those will be available for sale here shortly. So the pump is a 5 gallon a minute 12 volt pump, and it's in line directly with the system. So let's go over this ball valve assembly. We have a ball valve assembly here and it's on the 12 volts only. It gives you the option, when it's in this position, hook up from a water source and just run it through like you would any purification system. You have the ability to turn on and off the pump however you want to use it. But it also has a feature to draw from a buffer tank, and this is invaluable. There is not a system I can think of that has this built into it. So this ball valve, when you pull it down, you don't need to inline a water pressurized source. You can draw directly from a buffer tank. And I was looking for a hose I had here. This is a 1/2 inch OD tubing, and we sell it. You can get it anywhere. You can get a length of this hose, plug it right into this push fitting. It's a brass push fitting, and then run this directly to your buffer tank. So you can mount these in your vehicle and draw directly from a buffer tank. So the pump will take the pressure pull from your buffer tank and directly through the system, and without having to hook up to a water source. And the dual RO with the buffer tank hookup will produce 2.1 gallon per minute. So you can still run 3 pulls with that system, pulling from a buffer tank. The 12 volt has the same, or the single RO has the same feature, and that will pull about 1.8 gallon per minute directly from a buffer tank. So that is an invaluable system to have mounted in your vehicle that you can hook up a water source or pull directly from your buffer tank. Definitely an excellent feature with these systems. All the fittings on these systems are either steel or brass. There's no plastic fittings. We have one plastic fitting on here, and that's coming out of the pump, and it's just, those are easy change fittings. Other than that, they are all brass or steel fittings. The RO housings are stainless steel. They're stronger than the normal PVC ones that are prominently sold out on the market. So these are high quality, monsters of a system. There is nothing on the market out there like these. This system, all of these 4 configurations are in a it's 15, the dimensions are 15 by 15 by 50 inches tall, so it's a very small, compact system that you can mount in Ford Rangers, large trucks, flatbeds. You can mount these sideways under flatbed trucks. You can hang them under, mount them under your ladder rack horizontally. So we designed this system to be as compact as possible, yet produce the highest flow available out there. There is not a system out there that I know of right now that does what this system does. It's an amazing unit. So they can be mounted in a vehicle, or we have dolly kits. We have flat free tire dolly kits that they just bolt on. They're configured so they just bolt in, and then we have some bumpers for the front if you ever want to convert it to a dolly system. So either way, we've made it as fully functional as possible. So these systems come with a 50-foot length of 3/8 inch hose that you connect to the outlet to your water-fed pole, give you some maneuverability with the water-fed pole. You can add more hose if you need to. We don't recommend that you hook this up as the inlet water source hose, because the diameter of these hoses is so small that it could restrict the water flow coming in. You want to use something 1/2 inch or 5/8 standard garden hose to come to the inlet. So as I said earlier, the dimensions of these systems are 15 by 15 by 52 inches tall, and then the weights, the single RO tap pressure weighs 65 pounds. The dual RO tap pressure weighs 90 pounds. The 12 volt with the pump is 85, and then this one dual RO with the pump is 110 pounds. So even at 110 pounds with the wheel kit, you can definitely maneuver this around a job site. So you're not stuck with mounting them into a vehicle. So all of these systems are upgradable, and that is a key component in this whole little beast configuration. So if you're not sure what system you want, or you're going to grow into some more use later on, you have options to upgrade. So the single RO unit tap pressure, you can always add on an RO and get the dual RO version. You can stay with a single RO and add the pump assembly, the box, control box, the pump, and the ball valve assembly. You can always upgrade to that without having to buy a new system. And so no matter what system you get, you can upgrade it eventually to be the dual RO system. You might pay a little more in the long run, but you don't have to purchase a new system to do so. So that is an amazing feature with these systems. So one other thing to show you are the Little Beast hose reel kits that we have. So this is a 150-foot Little Beast hose reel. We have them in 250-foot also. And with these hose reels, we have holes pre-drilled in, I think, 4 or 5 different locations. There's one on the top, 3 on the front side, and then you have one on this side, and there's one on the other side. So you can mount dual outgoing hose reels like so, and then you can put a second one. Try to flip this around here. You can mount dual. You can have 2 outgoing hose reels, because these are more than capable of producing enough water for 2 or 3 pulls, and then have it mounted in your vehicle and just ready to go. And then these hose reels will plumb directly into the outline of the DI filter, so you don't have to hook it up into here. It will be pre-plumbed. And then you can do 2 hose reels, and then we have ball valve assemblies that you can install to either run 1 hose reel individually, or with the flip of a lever you can run them both at the same time. And then you can also set up a hose reel for the feed line. We have a couple pictures up with those. So on a lot of them we have, some guys will put a feed line or a feed reel here with like a 1/2-inch hose and just spool that out to the water source, and then 2 outgoing reels for their Waterfed pole systems. So amazing system, has a ton of perks, and these are solid, high quality systems. They're available at any distributor or from any distributor from Pure Water Power. Thank you and have a great day.